Although Apple TV+'s Manhunt is centered on the search for John Wilkes Booth after he assassinated President Abraham Lincoln, there are many other events that the series unfolds to provide context to the historical era, including Episode 4's Manhattan Fire plot. There are two notable scenes in Manhunt Episode 4 depicting the crime. One includes Patton Oswalt's Lafayette Baker arresting one of the Confederate perpetrators, while another sees John Wilkes Booth and his brother Edwin arguing during the event, highlighting the brothers' vastly different political ideals. Though the plot plays a small role in Lincoln's assassination, it is important nonetheless. The greater historical context of Manhunt, and thus, Abraham Lincoln's assassination, is that America had just come out of the Civil War. When the show begins, the Union won the Civil War only a few days previously. Aside from winning the 4-year-long war, Lincoln was also able to make some vital political changes around that time, most notably, abolishing slavery. Although this decision was lauded by many, those who were still holding on to the Confederacy were not pleased. This led to rebels forming plans to take down the Union, like Lincoln's assassination and the Manhattan Fire plot. The Confederate Army's Manhattan Fire operation explained. The Manhattan Fire plot intended to destroy New York City. On November 25, 1864, 8 Confederate operatives made an attempt to burn down New York City as a destructive stand against the Union. Led by Jacob Thompson, these individuals traveled into the Union from Canada and then set out to start various fires in the hotels and theaters of New York City. Ultimately, the reasoning for this plot was not complex. The Confederate operatives simply wanted to destroy New York to make a statement about their cause. Notably, the plot occurred during the final months of the Civil War, when the Confederacy was clearly beginning to lose. Almost all the fires set by the criminals didn't start or were easily contained. So, although the threat of the Manhattan Fire plot was high, the actual execution was more of an embarrassment for the Confederacy. The only saving grace of the operation was that almost all the perpetrators managed to escape the scene, returning to Canada without facing any consequences for their failed actions. If the criminals had succeeded, they could have seriously harmed countless New York City inhabitants. How many fires were set by Confederate operatives in Manhattan? The Confederacy intended to light several separate fires. Lafarge Hotel on fire. Manhattan Fire plot. Manhunt. When the Confederate operatives snuck into New York City, they intended to set 22 fires. Their targets included major hotels in the area, along with a theater and P.T. Barnum's American Museum. The arsonists intended to spread out the fires to make the firefighting effort more difficult. Of the 19 hotels the men targeted, some included Fifth Ward Museum Hotel, Astor House, the Belmont Hotel, the Fifth Avenue Hotel, the Howard Hotel, Lafarge House, Lovejoy's Hotel, the Metropolitan Hotel, the St. James Hotel, the St. Nicholas Hotel, the Tammany Hotel, and the United States Hotel. However, as previously mentioned, these fires were not ultimately successful. Despite planning for 22 fires, not a single one caught with enough force to actually cause damage to New York City. Furthermore, there were no reported deaths or injuries. In this way, the Manhattan Fire plot was a very grand scheme with an incredibly poor execution. This likely led to more embarrassment on the part of the Confederate South who, at that time, were already losing their grip on the Civil War. What was likely meant to be a show of power turned out to be a shameful debacle.